Hello all, welcome to What About YouTube channel. So today we are going to learn about one new modern activity which is introduced in the new modern design of UiPath Studio. Okay, so those who are using the new UiPath Studio from 2021.10 plus versions, you should have seen an activity called Use Application Bar Browser. Okay, so in this version, if you are not able to see this particular activity, what you have to do is go to Manage Package. Okay, and you need to make sure this UiPath.ui automation.activities is installed in your system. Okay, so if it is not installed, please install that package, then you will get this activity. Okay, so now I will tell you what is the use of this activity. Okay, so opens a desktop application or web browser page to use in your automation. Okay, so if you are trying to create an automation for your desktop application or for any of the web page, what you have to do first, you have to open up that application, right? Then only you can do some actions on that application. Okay, so the first step is like we have to open the application or the browser. For that, you can use this use application bar browser activity. Okay, so this is as per the new modern design of UiPath Studio. So I have already opened an older version of UiPath or the classic version of UiPath Studio, and here what you can see is like for opening a browser you will have to use open browser. Okay, so this was one classic activity, and if you want to open an application you'll have to use open application. Okay, so these were the two activities which we will have to use for opening the application, desktop application, as well as for the browser, right? So if you want to open the browser, you'll have to provide the URL, then you will have to create the flow. Like if you need to click on something, you will have to use a click activity like that, right? And for opening the application, here you will have to indicate, or you will have to pass the application details as the argument. But what happened in the new design? These details or these two activities were combined to a single one, that is use application or browser. Okay, so here one of the benefit is like if you want to automate a desktop application, you can just indicate on that particular application. Okay, so if you're doing that means it will automatically identify the application. Okay, or if you don't want to indicate that and if you want to pass it as an argument means even that also you can do by just inputting the details of your application. Okay, so let me show you one thing. Like I have already opened the document for this application. Okay, so we'll do one thing, we'll try to indicate on this page itself. Okay, so first we have to indicate the application. Okay, which application that we want to automate. So let me click over here. Okay, so here you can see it is using use browser Chrome, and what is the URL of the browser. Okay, so these things got copied here, and if you want to modify this path you can change it. Okay, so that is as per your need, you can change it, or you can use this for using the object repository, or you can add to your object repository. And okay, and here you can see it has automatically identify the application, that is chrome.exe. Okay, suppose if I want to open something in the 1 minute. Okay, so suppose if I want to automate something on the edge means what I will have to do. Let me click over here. Okay, so here you can see it has automatically selected Edge as the browser, and inside this you can see it has used ms-edge.exe application. Okay, so this is one benefit of using this activity. Okay, so it is automatically identify the exe path, and it is choosing which browser that we want to use for doing this automation. But if you're going for the older version of these activities like open browser, here you will have to choose which browser that you want to automate. Okay, which browser that you want to use for the automation. Okay, so even if you're recording something in the Chrome, you will have to choose from here like on which browser that you want to execute that. but in this case it is automatically identifying the browser as well, and it is passing as a selector. Okay, and URL also it is passing here, and if you want to modify the URL, you can just type the URL over here, or you can pass it over here. Okay, so that is a benefit of this use application browser. Suppose let me open one desktop application, that is calculator, and let's see how it is identifying the desktop application. So let me click on this indicate on screen, and I'm going to choose this desktop application. Okay, so here you can see it has selected only this calculator, right? So let me click on that. Okay, and here you can see what is application path. It has identified the calculator's application path, and if you want to pass some argument, okay, that you can do. Like suppose if you want to open some PDF file using Chrome Adobe Reader, means it will automatically use that exe for opening that Adobe Reader, and here you can pass the file details. Okay, so that's how it is working, and it will work like a container. Okay, so whatever the details that you have provided over here or indicated the screen, all those under whatever things are there inside that application, you can create a flow for that. Okay, so you can use different activities for working on this and creating your automation flow. And if you're using the app bar web recorder, it is automatically using the use application or use application bar browser activity for creating the container. So let me show you that. I'm going to record this session, app bar web recorder. Okay, so let me click on one button, that is 9. Okay, I'm going to click on 9 plus, sorry. Okay, I'm going to click on 9. Okay, I'm going to click on plus, then I'm going to click on 3. Okay, then I'm going to click on equal to. Okay, so that's it. Let me pause it, and let me save the execution. And here you can see it has automatically identified the use application or the use application browser activity to open the calculator. Okay, so even if you're going for the app or web recorder also, it is using the modern activity. Okay, so for opening the application or for opening the browser, it will use this activity, use application browser. Okay, and if it is a desktop application, it will change like a use application, and if it is a browser, it will show like a use browser. Okay, so hope that point is clear. And here in this argument, you can pass the arguments, like suppose if you want to pass some file details, that you can pass over here, and what is the exe for that application, and selector if you want to modify, that you can do. And you are like, suppose if you're going to use some browser, you will have to use the URL over here. And what is the input element? Okay, so let me go to the document which is providing by the UiPath for this use application bar browser. Okay, so this particular activity is inside this package, that is UI automation nest.activities.n application card. Okay, so we'll have to use this UI automation activity to get this activity. And description: opens a desktop application web browser page to use in UI automation. After you add the activity, indicate the application or web page to use. Add the activities to perform in the application inside the use application bar browser activity. Okay, if the application is not already opened, it is opened when the project is executed. So this is nothing but like if you already opened a calculator, okay, it will use this existing session, okay, for acting on that. And if you close this and if you try to execute that, what will happen? It will open a new session of the calculator and it will do the same action. Okay, so that is one benefit, and even that you can modify here as well. So here different options are there. So whether you want to open a new session or not. Okay, so here you can see 3 options are there. Never means if already an existing session is not there, you don't want to open a new session. Okay, so it will work on that. And here if not open, like if a new session is not already open, then it will open up a new session. Okay, always means even though if there is already a session is available, it will open again a duplicate session of the application. Like if already a calculator is opened, and if we choose always, it will open up a new session of the calculator. Let me choose that always, and let me try to execute this flow. Okay, so execution is yet to start. It is waiting for the robot to start the actioning, and here you can see already a calculator is opened, and it has opened in another instance. Okay, so hope you're clear with that concept. Okay, so it has completed our execution. So this is how our script is working, and this is how you need to use the use application bar browser activity. Okay, so I hope that point is clear. So let me stop the execution. And here what else is there? So starting with the UI automation version 20.10.x, multiple use application for browser activity can be nexted into each other. This enables you to automate multiple applications simultaneously. Okay, so the benefit of this activity is like you can next it inside another use application per browser. Okay, so within the same flow itself, you can open up different applications, and you can automate multiple applications simultaneously. Okay, so you don't need to create separate flows over there. So inside one container itself, you can next multiple containers to create the automation. And how to configure the activities. So everything is available here. So what are the steps and what are the properties of each element inside this property panel. Okay, so I'm not going to each and everything, but I will give you a brief about a few of the important things. Okay, so I think we already covered these points and all. So let me go to, okay, so this continue on error and all, I hope you are clear. Like even though if you're getting some error, it will continue with that application, or it will continue with that activity. Okay, so that is the purpose of continue on error. And what else? When the path defined application field is dynamic, clicking indicate target on screen child activity generates an error if the target application is not already open. Okay, so when the path defined in the application path field is dynamic, clicking indicate target on screen in child activity generates an error. This is nothing but like if you are going to pass some application path field. Okay, so it is like here if you are going to give some dynamic path, and if you're trying to indicate some screen. Okay, so if you're trying to indicate some screen, it will throw some error. There can be possibility for throwing an error. Okay, then and these titles that we already discussed, like if it is an application, it will show the title like use application, and if it is a browser, it will show the title like use a browser. Okay, so that activity itself will identify whether it is a browser application or it is a desktop application. Okay, and the timer that you can give, it specifies number of seconds for which to wait for the activity to be executed before throwing an error. Okay, so that is a maximum time before throwing an error. Okay, so the timeout you can set. And what are these input? So unified sorry, this is not that input. So this is that input. So here what are the features that we can give? So here you can give argument, file path, selector, and URL. So this argument is nothing but like if the application is not a browser, like suppose if you want to open a PDF file using Acrobat Reader, you can give the file path. Okay, like here you can see C drive and sample.pdf. So these things you can give inside the argument. Okay, and the file path is nothing but the exe path of that desktop application, and selector is nothing but an XML fragment that shows an attribute of a user interface element. Okay, so suppose if you are selecting this application, here you can see it is choosing the selector for that particular application. And URL, like if you're going for a browser, you can give the path of the your web application. And here input bar output element. So in this field, there are two properties of that is input element and output element. What are those? So input element, the target element you want to use with this application stored in an UI element object. This object can be retrieved from the output element property of another UI automation activity. You can use this property field to pass the target element from a previous activity to this one without having to indicate it again. This field supports only UI element. Okay, like suppose if you want to do some automation specific to some particular UI element, you can use this input element. Okay, and it will be like if you already have some output variable like UI element as part of some other activity, you can use that output element over this input element. Okay, and what is the output element? Output is the target element indicated in this activity to an UI element variable which can be reused in other activity. Okay, so it's like a in input element, like if you already created an UI element variable, and if you want to use it in this use application bar browser, you can pass it over here. Okay, inside you input element. But if you want to create an output element, and if you want to use it in some other activity, what you can do, you can create a variable over there, and you can use that UI element variable with the other activity. Okay, so I hope that is clear. And what else is there? Like close option is there. So this is nothing but like when you want to close this application, so never means it will not close the application even though your execution got completed. And here another thing is if opened by app browser, so it means if it got opened as part of your automation, okay, then it will get closed. Okay, like if already an existing session is there and another session got opened as part of your application. Okay, suppose if you are choosing here like always, it will open up a new session, right? And here for the close session, if you're choosing like if opened by app browser, what will happen? It will close the session. Okay, and always is here like whenever, if even though if it is using the same instance which is already opened, if you are choosing always means it will close that existing session also. Okay, so I hope that point is clear. And here resize window option is there, like whether you want to resize the size of the window, so whether you want to maximize that or restore to design times. It's like while you're creating the flow, what is the size of the page that you have used. If you want to restore to that particular size, that you can use. And if you want to keep it like a minimize mode, you can choose minimize. Okay, and here we missed something, that is input mode. Okay, so input mode, you can see 5 options are there, that is hardware event, simulate, Chromium API, Windows message, and background. So this is nothing but like how your application is going to interact. Okay, so here you can see input mode, select which method the robot should use to interact with the target element. So how your robot is going to interact with your target application or the application that you're going to automate. So based on that, you have to choose the input mode. So there are 5 modes available, that is hardware event. So what is hardware event? Use the hardware driver to perform the action. Okay, so it is using the your hardware event for performing some action on your application. Like suppose if you are using some click activity, it will be using the driver or your hardware driver actions to simulate the action. Okay, and it is a slowest method. Okay, but if you're going for the simulate action, simulates the action using accessibility APIs. Okay, so recommended in browser automation, Java apps or SAP. Okay, so this is important because simulate activity, it is preferable more for the browser automation. Chromium API performs action using debugger APIs, works only for Chromium element, sends all tests in one go. Okay, works even if target app is not in a focus. So it is like it's sending all tests in one go, and even if your session is out of focus or if it's in a minimize mode, even though in that particular step also it will work. Okay, but it will support only for the Chromium elements. And a Windows message, this will be useful if you are going for the automation of the Windows applications, okay, or the desktop applications. And here simulate click, it is more preferable for the browser automation. Okay, so sends the mouse and keyboard input through Win32 messages. And the background runs across in the action runs actions in the background, tries to use either Simulate or Chromium API were possible, while complex activities image native test run as usual in the foreground. It is highly recommended to use this method with a verify execution. So if you are going for the background, usually it will try to simulate the action using simulate property or with a Chromium API. Okay, because both of these will support the background automation. Okay, so I hope you're clear about all these properties, and here few things are additionally over there, like suppose if you want to um, attach the window. Okay, so you can choose either two mode, that is application instance, and a single window is available. So what are those? Application instance means inner activity search the indicated application instance including all parent and child window. Okay, so it will search for all the child and the parent field. Okay, but if you are going for the single window, what will happen? Inner activity search only in the indicated window. So suppose this is going to work like a container, right? This use application browser is going to work like a container, and if you are going to use some click activity or type into activity, or whatever it is going to add over inside that, it will only search for the indicated window. Okay, but if you're going for the application instance, even it will search for the parent as well as the child windows. Okay, that is one difference between application instance and the single instance. And here another property is like okay, this is a incognito bar private window. Like in your browser you can open the browser like a in a cognito mode, right? So new cognito window. So even if you enable that, it will open it in a cognito mode or in a private window mode. And user data folder mode and user data folder path. So how you need to choose it? So there are three mechanisms over there: automatic, default folder, and custom folder. Okay, so these are those properties. So suppose if you are going to choose automatic, so it will help in the picture in picture mode. Okay, so okay, so picture in picture mode, you say different folder than the default mode automatically generated if user data folder path is not set. Okay, so if you haven't set any data folder path, so it will automatically use some existing path. Okay, if you are going for the picture in picture mode. And default folder uses the default browser folder no matter if it runs in the main or pip session. Okay, so it will automatically choose the default browser path if you're going to choose the default folder as the folder mode. And what is the custom folder? So if you want to specify some particular folder path to open up your Chrome session or your browser session, you can give that a particular path. Okay, so uses the folder specified in the user data folder path or an auto generated path. Okay, so whatever the path that you're going to give here, it will take it as the custom folder. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So we have covered all the properties of this activity. So this is how you need to use this use application bar browser, and this is one modern activity which is provided by the UiPath for creating your workflows. And even if you're going for this modern recorder, that is app or web recorder, it is first going to initialize your application or going to open your application using the same activity. Okay, use application bar browser. Okay, so hope you're clear with that, and you are very much clear about all these properties that is available inside this use application bar browser activity. Okay, and here another thing is like suppose if you don't want to match the exact title, like if your title can get changed, what you can do, you can just unselect this particular field. Okay, but if you want to match it for each session, what you have to do, you will have to choose this title. Okay, it means like if the title of your calculator can vary but your application will be static. Okay, at that time you can just uncheck this value. Okay, so that's it. And here if you click on this three bar, you can indicate on the screen, or if you want to highlight the particular target, that you can do. See, suppose if I'm clicking on highlight target, it is highlighting on the application which you already indicated. Okay, then show informative screenshot. So if I click on that, it will show you the screenshot which has already captured. Okay, then remove informative screenshot. Suppose if I want to remove that screenshot, I can just click on this and add screen to object repository. Okay, so if I want to reuse this object, this particular field in some other automation, or in some automation which we are going to call inside this particular flow. Okay, so for reusing that particular field, we can create it as an object repository. Okay, so you can create as a new, or if you want to reuse it, you can just go for the reuse. So that's it. So I think we have covered everything over here. Okay, so that's it. So we have seen the all the features of the use application bar browser activity, which is introduced in the new modern design of a UiPath Studio. Okay, so if you find this video useful, please like the video, please share with your friends, please comment your valuable opinions, and please don't forget to subscribe our channel. So thanks for watching the video. Bye.